Today, we're going to be talking about the worst crash in crypto that I've experienced. And it's not just the numbers that tell you that. This is a global rug pull that we're seeing here. And the crypto markets are certainly not the only ones experiencing it, which is what makes it so different than previous crashes. But nonetheless, as you guys well know, I stay extremely hungry observing the market trends, trying to see where the next pivot of the market is going to take us. And little spoiler, I have a thesis today, and it's very much so in line with the thesis of this channel for the last several years, to be honest. So while this crash is extremely painful, as you can see here, these numbers are disgusting and definitely even worse than I expected it to be. Now, that said, the actual eventual adoption of this technology and how it's happening is something that is extremely exciting and a story that continues to grow in a positive way. So how can these two things exist at the same time? This brutal collapse, over here, this brutal collapse, as well as the promise of certain sectors of this industry gaining more adoption and excitement than ever before. We're going to go through all of that and more today. And most importantly, this is my first episode back in a while. So if you guys are excited to hear what I'm up to right now and how I see this crypto world, then destroy that like button because we have an amazing show packed with information for you today. I'm going to spend a couple of minutes here shouting out people in the chat, 2,000 of you in the audience right now. And I want to say, for everyone, I know it's tough, so I'm going to be giving away $1,000 in ETH today. Hopefully it makes someone's day. Make sure you go and retweet and comment brutal with your ETH address on my Twitter, and that way you can make sure that you're entered to win. I'm going to go ahead and shout out some people in the chats. I know everyone is probably having a mixed day with this kind of red. Shout out to everybody. Wow, so many people in the chat. Big love to you all. Seriously, these bearish downturns are where I think, as much as the bull runs are amazing to be making a lot of money, it also attracts a lot of the wrong attention. And so these are definitely interesting pivots of the market where you'll start to see the true long-term communities form and products form. So everyone here, congratulations. If this is your first crash, everyone's been through it. I've been through it a ton of times, but this is definitely a major crash. So you guys are living through the brutal ups and downs that are crypto. And when I say that these coins can crash 80, 90% very quickly, that's the risk reward setup. So we're going to be going through, please, if you guys want to win this $1,000 in ETH, make sure you retweet. And of course, if you guys are excited for this video, excited that I'm going to be doubling down on content during these bearish periods, I personally find that there's more edge in the bearish period than the bullish period, where, in the metaverse run, anything that was in the metaverse category was just going up and to the right, you could kind of throw a dart. Whereas now, digging in and finding where the value is going to give an edge. And I know a lot of you are thinking, well, the whole chart's red. Literally all I see is red, red, red. How is it possible that there's even an edge? And there is always an edge, especially lately with the NFT markets. There's always a way to position. So we're going to be talking about what I'm seeing and what it makes me excited about for the short term and midterm. And again, it's very much in line with the thesis that I've had for years on this channel about gaming and metaverse. So I think you guys are going to be excited about it. Again, destroy that like button and let's dive in, hop in, jump head first, head over heels in, because we have this insane change, right? I'm not a massive macro analysis guy, right? I'm not a finance bro analyzing interest rates. But in the last few weeks, we've all had to become finance bro, macro bros, because clearly what the Federal Reserve has done as far as a policy change is having an insane impact. Just like we saw when the Fed stepped in and started buying everything right here, we saw the NASDAQ take what now looks, if you zoom out on the 5-year chart or on the max view chart, it looks like a parabolic growth curve here, which is quite scary, right? Because the question is the Fed popping the bubble? Is the bubble popping because of the Fed? Now, the thing that I want to keep reiterating throughout this broadcast is that everything we're seeing right now, it's not due to crypto. It's due to macro monetary policy. This has nothing to do with Bitcoin on-chain metrics. This has nothing to do with Ethereum fees. Oh, sorry. Let me make sure. Have you guys been hearing my audio double? Have you guys been hearing my audio double? Okay, no, I don't think you have. I don't think you have. Okay, cool. I thought I was leaving my audio on double. Tell me if the audio is good, everybody. Go ahead and okay, cool. All right, great. Awesome. Okay, so what's really important to understand here is that this current change is nothing to do with the normal ebbs and flows of crypto. Now, before NFT run started, if you guys were watching this channel, we said, hey, this stuff's super risky, but it looks like it's going to have this crazy move. It did. And then the people who were able to put the right amount of risk on there did really well. Same with gaming and metaverse. Understanding that these waves have lasted for a couple of months, the people who were able to take profits during the good times have some cash left over. Now, I know that a lot of people didn't. I certainly didn't play it as well as I could have. I didn't take nearly as many profits as I could have. Now, I personally don't sell a lot of the stuff I cover because I genuinely want them to go up and for the audience to do well. But, and that's why I personally don't take profits as aggressively. But the reality is that what we're looking at is this massive lull in a movement that I believe is going to consume the internet. And this lull is being created by things that have nothing to do with crypto, right? So we have the macro monetary policy being created by Jerome Powell and the Fed. And this is what's driving the complete downturn in the stock markets and crypto. And it's not just crypto. We had literally Peloton, a major tech stock here. I'm actually a Peloton user trying to keep those pounds off. But we had it go from 162 down to 27. That is insane. That is literally like altcoin losses right here. 162 from pretty much the end of 2020. About a year later, it's like that's almost a 90% drop. I don't know. Somebody put in the chat what the percentage drop is. We had Netflix earlier this week drop from $500 down to under $400. That's a 20% drop in one trading day. That is literally like low cap, market cap altcoin losses. So this stuff is not relegated to crypto. This is a macro trend. Again, I've never espoused to be a macro analyst. I'm learning with you guys. And this is where you start seeing why the current prices are what they are versus, for example, the trend of metaverse, which as I can show you right here, where is this article? We're seeing metaverse continue to completely dominate the interest from mainstream brands, celebrities, games, studios, tech. We've seen NFTs get added to Twitter. We're seeing NFTs get added to Instagram, NFT stores coming from Reddit. We're seeing Coinbase NFT. We're seeing Microsoft acquire Activision Blizzard and most likely the biggest metaverse acquisition to date. And we're seeing that play to earn gaming is a new business model that is wildly disrupting the prior business models of free-to-play gaming. So this is a major tech trend. And what we have is a huge collapse caused across all risk markets by the Federal Reserve. Now, does this make it any better? Does this make the losses that we've all sustained any better? No, of course it doesn't. And this is why I scream about taking profits on the way up. Of course, right now, everyone's saying, I don't care what you're saying about taking profits on the way up because I didn't and I don't have those profits. So I get it. Everybody is probably sitting on way less crypto than they wish they had. And to be honest, this is one of the most brutal collapses I've seen in a long time. Like this is pain, right? This is pain. And am I saying buy everything, it's going to go up tomorrow? No, but I am seeing certain sectors react pretty well to this. And the theory right now that NFTs are going to be the sort of safe haven or the direction of the market while crypto or altcoin slows down. That was a theory we've put out many times here on the channel. I tweeted about it several times. That is playing out right now, and NFTs are getting extremely hot. So to recap, right now, we're looking at a change in macro policy. And this particular chart is very, very interesting to look at. So this chart was shown by a macro analyst that was on Real Vision, Raoul Pal's show. And he's essentially showing how there is a change happening, a cyclical turnover here. And if you look at the blue line and the Bitcoin price, you can see that as the blue line starts to turn downward in slope, it's called the top of these Bitcoin bull runs, unfortunately, really, really closely. And so you're seeing here, the black line here is the relationship between high beta and low beta stocks, right? Or investment opportunities. Now, high beta, I actually looked this up because I wanted to have this definition handy. High beta stocks are those that are positively correlated with returns of the S&P 500, but at an amplified magnitude. This is kind of like, you can think of high beta stocks as low cap altcoins. Like when Bitcoin is in a bull run, altcoins and low cap altcoins tend to way outgrow Bitcoin percentage wise. And in a bear market, those tend to crash harder than Bitcoin in percentage wise. And that is the same thing as high beta stocks. And so what this line is showing is the more bullish that this blue line gets, the higher people tend to lean into these more aggressive growth stocks, the stocks that have higher upside. And this is the same with a bull run, with people leaning into more lower cap altcoins and the riskier altcoins, right? And so this relationship, as you can see, the macro analysts are saying, look, this looks like this is going to be a significant correction. Now, what we know for a fact is that it's all hinging on this guy right here, Jerome Powell and the Fed. So we need to take a few things as gospel right now. One of the things that I had been basing my investment thesis on for the past since March 2020 was that the economy is in a horrible position and the only real way out right now is to print money. Now, that to me has not changed at all. But what's happening right now politically is that people very much so want to have a change to inflation. That inflation is the dragon that politicians want to slay first. So for me, the biggest thing is that we need to understand which problem they're trying to solve right now. And it seems as though inflation is superseding the economy. But can that last forever, right? The question is this just going to be a sort of tough love policy that actually ends up making it harder on everybody by tightening the flow of money? Now, maybe that controls inflation short term, but long term, there are big underlying issues with the economy that I really fail to see a lot of responses to besides printing money, besides stimulating the economy. And so this is a very interesting sort of push and pull here, where maybe if the market gets too bad, they start to reverse course on this like they did in 2018. But again, what we're seeing is that the Fed is whipsawing around Bitcoin. And with Bitcoin right now comes the majority of the market. But I believe that those days are going to change dramatically this year. And we're already seeing that. And we see it in the form of NFTs. Now, I know a lot of people, whether you like NFTs or not, what is really important to see is the difference in market behavior between NFTs and fungible tokens, especially during downturns of the market. And what we've seen is that OpenSea has now had their biggest ever month this month in January, after having a few lower months at the end of the year. And the return of excitement to NFTs has been staggering. So while this is going to most certainly control the narrative around Bitcoin, the real excitement around this moment is that we might start seeing a decoupling of market behaviors and market activity around NFTs and gaming. And those are the things that I've always espoused here on the channel, at least for the last few years, are the actual vehicle to acquire users. The amount of people excited about and learning about NFTs is way outstripping the amount of people excited about and learning about crypto. And so more users equals more value. I've said that a lot of times. I also wanted to bring up this chart as well, or this tweet as well, because I thought it was a very, very interesting tweet. And let me get back in line here. But there is a tweet here from Punk6529 saying the NFT market and crypto market will decouple this year. Not in terms of the price of individual pieces, those will remain correlated with crypto, but in terms of total market size and direction. Now, I half agree here, because I do believe that obviously the market will decouple. I've been saying that. I've been tweeting about that for several weeks now. But more importantly, I do believe that the prices will also decouple for some collections. We've already seen that now for example, I'll go through a few of them. But we've already seen that for several collections, that NFTs seem to kind of exist in their own market cycle. However, I do believe that this is very accurate, which is regardless of if Bored Ape Yacht Club goes 10x from here or anything like that, I believe that the total market of NFTs will continue to grow dramatically over the coming months, even if crypto goes flat or down. And so that might mean just more NFT collections, not necessarily that each NFT collection is going up in value, but the actual size of the NFT market and the amount of participants holding and trading NFTs, I believe will go parabolic this year, regardless of what happens with Orange Coin, right? And so this is an inflection point in the markets where I believe that what this guy thinks or what says about money printing should not dramatically affect the adoption of crypto gaming. They seem like they should be on their own islands, right? They should be being evaluated with their own merits. Now, what we saw, which was this wild euphoric bull run at the end of 2021, which was based largely off crypto forces. And that's why we were so excited about Q4 2021, because it was lining up with Q4 2013 and Q4 2017, which if we dive into the Bitcoin charts, we know those are the two most bullish periods in history in the entire crypto markets. We had Q4 here in 2013 where we hit $1,000, and then Q4 2017 where we hit $20,000. And of course, Q4 ended up not quite lasting as long as we wanted, but still that metaverse gaming run was insane, and coins we had on this channel did very well. Of course, my goal is to equip this audience with frameworks for finding coins, with frameworks for analyzing the market, instead of just naming projects. I've shared that very clearly with you all, that my goal is to outline sort of thought processes that can help you arrive at the right projects and then manage your own risk throughout those projects, take profits when needed. Now, of course, I keep striving to do a better job. And even I, like I said, didn't play that Q4 as well as I could have. But it still doesn't take away my excitement that we might be seeing for the first time a major inflection point here, like what Punk6529 is saying. Now, of course, he is saying that the actual prices of individual pieces will fluctuate with crypto. And this does make sense because, of course, most things are priced in Ethereum. But I do believe that there is a chance here that we could see a decoupling across more than just the total market direction, but we could also see a decoupling in value. And so what is leading me to believe that, right? When we're seeing so much brutality here on the charts, well, we do have a very good example. And I've said this a few times, where goes the users, goes the value, pure and simple. And that's why I'm such a big believer in gaming. And we saw the first instance of this with Axie Infinity this summer. We started getting word of the Axie Infinity user growth. And even though Bitcoin was in the rubble at this time, we got this amazing run where Axie went from about $3 or whatever up to $77. Just insanity, right? Insane growth. No one can say anything, but that's just insane growth. Some days they had, what was that, $6 billion in trading volume? Just wild stuff, okay? So we have a precedent for a gaming NFT related project bucking the narrative of the overall market. And then the Ronin sidechain was doing hundreds of millions of dollars in trading, sometimes daily. And so we see the blueprint for when more users get added to an ecosystem, the value can accrue there regardless of what Orange Coin is doing. And this is super healthy. In fact, this is a holy war for the future of crypto, where the good projects need to decouple from the market and live and fight on their own merits. Now, to be fair, when the NASDAQ is hot, projects are hot, right? So this happens in tech sector as well. Whenever you have a speculative market, the markets will tend to have motion of the ocean. We see this when, the NASDAQ had a bad day. A lot of the NASDAQ projects had a bad day. It wasn't just Netflix, right? It wasn't just Peloton. It was across the tech sector. So investors do tend to lump and have herd mentality. But in general, the ability, and so we see here, Axie Infinity has gotten pulled way back down to earth. But even after all this brutal crash, $58 compared to where it was in the summer of 2021, $3, you're still looking at, almost 20x there, right? So, and I'm not saying anything about what the next move on the Axie chart is, right? I'm just saying more users created all this value. You get this major FOMO wave of capital pouring in to get a little taste of the Axie magic. And then the reality is we don't know what a game like Axie is worth, but we do know that it's worth more the more users are coming in. And so I'm expecting for those rules of gravity to apply as we go through 2021 or 2022. Like I said, this acquisition of Microsoft and Blizzard is an absolute monster thing to have on your radar, because it shows the hunger to get into metaverses unlike any other sector of crypto. We did not see major tech jump in for DeFi. We did not see major tech jump in for alternative L1 chains or Ethereum killers. We've only seen big tech jump in for NFTs and metaverse. We see Walmart with a metaverse, Disney with a metaverse. Microsoft just bought Activision Blizzard, most likely metaverse play here. The list goes on of massive titanic companies that are jumping into metaverse. And meanwhile, we're seeing this huge cool off, this like nuke of titanic proportions. So these two things are existing at the same time. You have this unbelievable beginning to what seems like the most important, in my opinion, the most important online industry of the future, coupled with a massive nuke of titanic proportions on asset values. Obviously, to me, being a massive bull, I think of this as a huge, huge opportunity. But it's worth noting that this sucks, right? Nobody likes to see their money go down. But it's also worth noting that in this rubble, the goal for me over the course of the next short to midterm is to identify and start accumulating positions in the projects that have a chance to go mainstream and attract users, to have this Axie Infinity like effect, to have this kind of growth regardless of Orange Coin. That's my goal. Now, I want to talk about some projects that have done really, really well. I do want to just take a second. For all my Neo Tokyo citizens out there, this was absolutely amazing. Neo Tokyo just did a tournament on Twitch and gave out $1 million in prizes with some amazing sponsors: Animoca, Twitch, G Fuel, Defina, JRNY, Crypto Club, NFT. We have Polygon, Sin City, My Pet Hooligan, Super Farm, Virtue Poker, Immutable, and Mega Weapon. So shout out to the sponsors there. There was over, I think, almost 30,000 live viewers concurrent watching it on the front page of Twitch. Let me go ahead and show the actual, I actually believe I tweeted an image of it. Yes, I did. You can see there, Becker on the front page of Twitch. And you can see here, there was, I believe it says 27 something thousand viewers. Anyway, or this was over 25, but it went higher. Really, really cool to see. Absolutely super fun electric event, and just the beginning. But remember, this is about crossing the chasm and getting mainstream gaming community to understand and be excited about NFTs. So anything that can accomplish that is a good thing. Anything that can start to pop the bubble and get outside of the crypto echo chamber is a good thing. And NFTs and gaming certainly hold that power and appeal. And that's why I'm so excited. So let's talk about some of the projects that have done well over the last week. One I think is super emblematic, and that is the Creepz project. So Creepz minted here for, oops, where is that? Creepz minted here. Here's the Creepz project. We're going to talk about this because it does sort of embody a new type of NFT project that's like a gamified NFT project, and these are doing really well. Now, I do want to be clear. This minted for 0.069 ETH, and it was trading now. The floor is 6 ETH, right? So this is like 100x. Almost. It went, yeah, pretty much almost 100x. If it goes to 6.9, then it will be 100x. So this is, as you can see, has gone parabolic. And actually, I want to shout out FaZe Banks, who told me about this project. Amazing, amazing call. And you can see that even if you missed the mint, there was a few days where you could get in for well under 1 Ethereum, and it's just taken off. Now, why is Creepz doing well? And these are the things, that questions that I think I want you all to be answering yourself, because it's not about buying Creepz. I'm not asking you to buy Creepz or suggesting you do. In fact, I don't own any Creepz because I didn't jump on this call, stupidly for me. But what I always do when I see something catch attention, especially in these bearish moments, is to ask myself how this happened, why it's happening, and to reverse engineer why it might happen to other projects in the future. So this is by no means the only type of project that could happen here in NFT. And in fact, I believe this is the year of real video games. Now, Creepz isn't a video game, but it's a gamified NFT where essentially you mint your Genesis Creep. That Creep starts yielding this Lumi token. You can then use your Lumi token to buy the 5G towers and spy birds that they then yield Lumi token more. And then you can buy shapeshifters. And there's all these different things you can sort of do to increase your yield and level up within this Creepz universe. And these types of more complicated game theory dynamics are really, really exciting for people. It's like a game of, it's like an on-chain game, right? It's not an actual video game, but it's gamified, right? And this layer of gamification, they're calling it play to earn, is what's going to be obviously the most important in my mind, right? There are still amazing NFTs doing really, really well. Look at Doodles, look at other, other types of NFTs that are mainly sort of visual art projects, like Azuki or whatever. We can talk about those. But this type of stuff is where I see a huge, huge upside, right? Because this is where people are starting to combine fungible, non-fungible. What I also like about Lumi is it's not even listed on CoinGecko. And this is actually... yeah, so Lumi's not even listed on CoinGecko. And I actually love that because it keeps it away from sort of being treated like a normal fungible token. And it makes it more like a closed ecosystem where the only people who are really getting involved with Lumi are the ones who are part of this Creepz ecosystem, who are in the Discord, who are finding the actual token contract, and that's exactly the strategy that Neo Tokyo had with Bytes. Bytes is also not listed on CoinGecko, and it tends not to really move as much with the market, though it is increasingly as more and more sort of violent moves happen in the market. But these are the things that can be really, really, really helpful, right? Is when tokens are sort of siphoned off from the mainstream ups and downs of Bitcoin. I think it's very healthy. And NFTs being the kernel, the basis for these tends to help them avoid, these coins tends to help them avoid getting dragged in with the market. So looking for projects that are NFT based, that have a token attached, that has utility, that there is these sort of gamified environments for is important. And I think that that is a winning strategy for the next short term. Now, I do want to be clear. There is not a lot that is super defensible here about Creepz. Someone could clone this project and have similar sort of mechanics very quickly, like we saw with Wolf Game, like we've seen with other types of on-chain gamified ecosystems. I do think that the bigger moats come from real video games, like the video games that we've been covering, things like Imposters, Sin City, things like, the list goes on. Obviously, we'll talk about Heroes of Mavia in a second as well. There's a lot of really cool games. And I think the gameplay is where you get the protectable, defensible moat of the community because it's so hard. Video games are so hard. Whereas, on-chain stuff is easily forked and it's all sort of open source, if you will. So that's where I see things. And I'm using Creepz just as an example. This is not an end all be all, but this was, again, one that's just absolutely rocketed to the tune of, like I'm showing you guys, to the tune of like 100x here, because with a floor of 6, if it minted at 0.069, that is just monster gains. So really important to understand that while the market is super sad and we're getting these horrible, disgusting dumps, there is still parts of the industry evolving. And those parts of the industry in many ways are things that we really need to look at because if we look at Google Trends for NFTs versus crypto, I'm going to see if I can bring up this chart here while I'm midstream. We see that we have examples of those things actually overlapping. And you see here that the actual popularity of NFTs of recent has been catching up to mainstream crypto, crypto as a term in red and NFTs in blue. And this is something that continues to happen because NFTs are so new. Crypto is kind of an old concept, right? And so it's very, very important to understand. More users equals more value. More users equals more value. So following the users is the best hope that we have of seeing decoupling of certain parts of the market. So those are the things I really want to be clear about. We also have seen Bored Ape do pretty well, right? We've had a major crash, and even though this is priced in ETH, the floor for Bored Ape just continues to kind of climb its way up. Now at 85, it was during the collapse back in October, November. This was as low as in the 20s, right? So while the rest of the market has collapsed, this has gone up 4x in ETH. Maybe in US dollar terms, it's jumped around a bit because ETH has jumped around so much. Really important just to keep your eyes on certain NFT projects and how they behave during these crashes. Cool. I wanted to talk for a second about Heroes of Mavia. Now, this is one that I have invested into. This was brought to my attention by the Neo Tokyo Discord and the head of research over there. And they have been doing some really interesting things beyond the fact that it's like a Clash of Clans type game where people are very excited about the economic sort of the economics that are involved in Heroes of Mavia and how it relates to Clash of Clans and how it will do very well with NFTs. They're also doing very interesting stuff, if I can find it here, where they're simulating the economy in really, here you can see it. Yeah. So you can see that they're simulating the Ruby, which is their token economy based on actions and percentage likelihoods of certain actions within the game. And you can see the flow of actions in the game and how it will affect the Ruby economy. And so stuff like this is very interesting because it shows that they are interested in pushing the narrative forward, that they are interested in, for the most part, helping the play-to-earn industry evolve, because we've seen with Axie's SLP model, it's not necessarily the best model for sustainability of the economy. And the sustainable play-to-earn economy is something that'll totally change the world if you can reliably, for months or years on end, make money playing certain video games. It's going to be a huge, huge change to our online lives. Again, in the end, crypto is designed to make people's lives better. And if it doesn't do that, if it falls short of that, then to me, what's the point in bidding up all of these projects? In the end, we're trying to find the projects that will make an impact on the world. And to me, gaming, it's been the only thing that really makes sense to me. Obviously, DeFi is amazing, and wrapping DeFi into something more palatable and more easy to understand and get feed into, like a game, is a really, really big explosive trend, right? So GameFi, play to earn, Metaverse, they're different sides of the same coin here, which is we need to figure out how to build these models in a way that impacts the world positively. 5,000 of you in the house. Just want to say a big thank you to everybody. I know that these times are really, really hard. But for me, when things get really brutal in crypto, tends to be the time that I actually see the most opportunity. Just like when we were back in the May crash, and then things started to reverse in NFTs and gaming, I started to get really excited. And that was against the grain, right? But since May, there was so much upside to be had. If you got excited back here in May and June, there was a lot of upside to be had. I don't know where the bottom of this move is because, like I said, we're in really unprecedented times, super unprecedented. And so short to midterm, what Bitcoin does, very unclear. What does my gut say? I could tell you what my gut says. I think we're going to go down a little lower. I think we're going to have a mega bounce into the low 50s, and then we'll see. But I don't think that right now is Bitcoin's moment. But I think there's a silver lining here because I do believe that it could be the time where gaming and Metaverse and NFTs really form their own market structure. And that's echoed here in Punk 6529 sentiments. It's been echoed in things that I've tweeted in the past, which I don't want to just dig through my Twitter. But that's very interesting stuff. So things like Creepz I see as being amazing. Things like Heroes of Mavia, which I'm invested in. Creepz I don't hold. And I just want you guys to know, I just want to give you the best information. My goal of this channel is to empower the audience with the best information. And whatever direction the market pulls is the direction I really want the audience to be there first. Being there first, looking around the corners in Cryptoland is what allows for you to get ahead and do well. Getting there late is not what allows you to do well. Identifying a trend after it's already happened is great, but that limits the upside. Identifying future trends and bear cycles in bearish moments like we're in is how people really crush this market. So this is a really, really big one. I wanted you guys to know about it. Heroes of Mavia, I did invest in their land sale. And then there's just a bunch of cool play to earn games. Some are further along than others, but those are the types of things that I see really crossing the chasm. And the people I've been talking to in mainstream gaming, the excitement there is palpable, right? The excitement there is absolutely insane. And stuff like this is a huge, huge indication of where the industry is going. So while things are being very, very scary in Bitcoin land and macro investment policy land, the advent of VR metaverse and NFTs is something that I think makes people's lives better, right? And I tweeted something to the tune of, we've been using these platforms like Twitter, like Instagram, even YouTube right here, and all this content has been free. And the only thing I get as a content creator is a bigger audience, more eyeballs, more attention. And that's awesome. But the question I think that people will be asking now that NFTs are starting to make their way into Instagram is, who would pay for the content? Who would pay for the content? Is this content really worth zero? Are people willing to pay for the content as NFTs? Because I believe that that is a huge change in mentality from essentially a world of free content to essentially a marketplace of content. I don't know what it's going to do to the world, but I know that creators are going to be in an amazing position because of this. And I do believe that creators and creator brands are going to start becoming just unbelievably powerful forces, right? I'm talking to some of the biggest creators in gaming, mainstream YouTube and influence, and they're in prime position to be leaders of this next phase of NFT, social tokens, and gaming and metaverse. Whereas the big companies, while they're also in a great position, I think that creator brands are going to really shine. So to answer that question, who would pay for the content? I think the reality is for a lot of these top content creators, a lot of people would pay, right? Whether those are Instagram people or, brands or gamers. I think that the reality is a lot of this content is worth more than it's currently being valued at, whether it's art or music or whatever it might be. So there's a huge change happening here online. Understanding it is really the goal. Looking ahead, 1 or 2 steps. That is how we do well here in crypto. Now, of course, no taking away this price crash sucks. There's no sugarcoating it, but I will be here each and every day putting in the work to give you guys my understanding of how I see the market here. And like I said, Creepz just went literally 100x over the last few days. So I'm not, there's no clickbait, no BS here. This is the reality. It went from 0.069 to 6 in just a couple of days from January 5th to January 21st. So this isn't small time potatoes of a 10% gain here or some like little minute uptick. Someone could have made an absolute killing here with just a few $1,000s or a few $100s. So this is the reality. This is happening. Does this mean that you should go, head over heels into NFTs and risk it all? Of course not. And so I think that takes us to another topic, which is risk management, right? In the end, I say this constantly because I've been through many crashes here on the channel. And as things heat up, I say, the goal here is to take profits because the industry will crash again. But it seems to me, based on the replies, that nobody actually listens to that part of the episode. And they just go to the part where I talk about coins that have the 10x, 20x, 100x potential. Now, if you don't take in the risks, then you are most likely going to get crushed by the industry. If you're not taking profits out or covering your initials on stuff that goes up like that, then you're going to be there for when it comes down like that. So I don't want to rub salt in the wound. I know a lot of people are having probably a horrific month, myself included, right? I'm down. I probably down more money than you guys are. I probably am. But the reality is that if you guys take this and you take the pain of this moment and you learn from it, then you'll be better next time. And there is always a next time in Cryptoland. There is always a next time, because what's happening here is changing the world. What's happening here is huge. What's happening here with Walmart, Disney, every major brand, Nike, Adidas, video games, culture, music, film, it's all coming into NFTs in a various forms in the metaverse. And to me, video games are the tip of the spear, but this is a huge change to our digital world, to our society. And so regardless of what happens with Orange Coin, if you're refining your strategies, then you'll be better prepared for this next move. This game Shrapnel, somebody brought it up to me. It's pretty early. You see that it's only 1,200 followers. Supposedly they have a team from HBO behind it. And again, we're just seeing more and more game announcements. So this movement of the entire industry is absolutely, absolutely huge. I did tweet about this yesterday. One of my buddies is a big techno DJ named Boys Noise. And he created a project, or I helped him advise him on a project called Rave Pigs. Again, there's no like gamification or utility layer here. It's just a really cool NFT where essentially every visual trait is corresponded to an audio trait. And I actually brought this up to him when we were chatting like last year, right when Bored Ape Yacht Club was popping off, the idea of a PFP that had a music component. And it's finally come to life. So check it out. If you guys like techno, again, stuff is super risky. All NFTs could go to literally zero. I just want to be clear. You got like any of this could go to zero. I'm not guaranteeing or saying that I even think this is going to go up in value. I just wanted to shine a light on a project that I helped advise. And, I think the art is kind of cute. And I really like that you can actually have a one-of-one techno track. I love electronic music. I love techno, and Boys Noise is a total legend of the techno scene. So this is like a Berlin underground project. But the point here is that things like Mavia, things like Creepz, things like Wolf Game, things like Axie Infinity, if the users can get into these ecosystems, then the opportunity is immense. And in my opinion, Orange Coin can't stop this. Orange Coin cannot singularly stop the growth of this huge change to society. I'm going to go ahead and hop into some comments right now. It can't go lower. No, it most certainly can go lower. It most certainly can. I see some people talking about social tokens, some people talking about EDM. Shout out to EDM. Somebody says, Elio says this is the bull run I was predicting. No, I was predicting, obviously, all jokes aside, the market changed and rugged us really, really fast. But, I kept saying, take home some bacon for winter, because we know that these waves of metaverse was based on the Axie hype, right? That was based on one game's hype. And so everyone started pouring money into everything metaverse. And then Facebook changed their name. And then, we had a chain reaction of events. And so we saw this huge spike in attention. And usually those tend to die off once they get unsustainable. We knew that this would happen. We just didn't know when. And so obviously, if for those people who did take some profits, now you'll be in a position to buy some lows. If you're bag holding now and you're underwater. I've been there. There's not any really good moves to make. Hopefully what you could do is if you're super bag holding right now, you want to wait for Bitcoin to make its bounce. At some point, Bitcoin will bounce. Even if it's just a relief rally, a dead cat, at some point, Bitcoin will find a spring. And I believe it'll spring back into the 40s, maybe even the 50s. But that's not a reversal of that's not going to take away the effect of the Fed, right? If the Fed keeps coming out with hawkish news, then Bitcoin will continue to grind down, right? And so if you're really underwater, I said that on a tweet back when we were in the high 40s. I said, look, if you're really underwater, sell the next bounce. We bounced up to like 52, 53. Again, I didn't say sell then, but I did tweet the stuff before. And I tweeted something similarly in the low 40s before we bounced up to like 43, 44. The reality is once again, I think there's a big bounce coming where I could see Bitcoin going from the low 30s here up to the 40s or maybe even the 50s. And that would be, if you are really underwater, probably a good time to take some risk off, right? And in my opinion, the opportunity this year to start accumulating positions for the eventual adoption of Metaverse, for the eventual adoption of crypto gaming, this is a huge opportunity. In my opinion, this is the quote trade of the decade. We covered that theory by Cathie Wood a few weeks ago. And what essentially she's saying is that this was going to happen. This would be a reverse course from the Fed, where we would start tightening monetary policy. There would be huge crashes in risk assets. And then eventually what we'll start talking about is a recession. Instead of inflation, we'll be talking about deflation and recession. So the fears of inflation, essentially the good, just to be clear, let's talk for a second about the ideal outcome here. The ideal outcome, I know this is going to sound crazy, is that the fears of inflation start dying away and that people are much more worried about the fears of a recession. And if that happens, we're going to see a huge reversal in talk and policy from Jerome Powell, which he's done several times, right? He's done this in 2018. He's done this before. Jerome Powell does position around the market. So if inflation starts going down, but the fear of recession starts becoming everyone's fear or first primary sort of political motive, then we're going to see a reversal of the policy, and we're going to see again up only mode from Bitcoin. And so that's a very interesting moment we're in here, but we haven't seen that yet. So until we see that, we don't know what's going to happen with Orange Coin. But even more so, I would say that a macro bull run just based on money printing, just based on hedging against inflation, that's not what attracts me to crypto. That, yes, we've all made money from this wild bubble up, melt up economy, but is that really making people's lives better on the whole? Yes, money makes people's lives better, but is a melt-up economy the goal? No. I think a fundamentals and value-based economy is what would excite me, right? And that's why seeing gaming and crypto, seeing things like Creepz go 100x against the market that's going like pretty much negative 100x, that is exciting, right? That's a data point that we want to take in. Seeing Bored Ape Yacht Club and seeing the top NFT projects hold and grow against ETH during these times, not people just immediately want to pull their money out, that is also a major, major signal that these markets are not necessarily behaving the same. And having a crypto market or a blockchain market that is disconnected from Orange Coin is incredibly, incredibly meaningful and will allow us to escape the sort of boom bust, sort of like incredibly painful cycles we've been in. Then again, you can always learn to play those cycles and make money on them. Everyone ends up with scars in the end, but hopefully your badges of honor outweigh your scars when the music stops. I'm going to go ahead and hop back into the comments because I want to make sure I'm answering your comments. I didn't do a good job of that before. Okay, for people super chatting, I was not paying attention. Somebody says, will there first be super farm marketplace or imposters? 2, will hold any super farm genesis get you whitelisted for imposters? 3, will there be possible to rent NFT on super farm marketplace? Thanks, love the content. Okay, 1, will there be super farm marketplace or imposters? They are actually completely separate teams. So the game studio and the marketplace team, the blockchain team and the games team are totally separated. And like I said, right now, Imposters, the trailer is just being tweaked. The art is being, finalized here for the the Genesis season, which is something I'm very excited to talk about. Again, a lot of the game theory that we saw that made Neo Tokyo so special will be involved here. As well as the game. I want to be clear, you will not need to pay big money to play the game. You will not need to pay any money to play the game. However, there's an economic layer that's being laid there for the NFT side of things. So if you want to get involved with the economics, you can, but for everyone who just wants to play the game, that's not going to stop anyone from getting involved. It's not like we're going to make teenagers pay $10,000 to play Imposters. Now, 2, will hold any Superfarm Genesis get you whitelisted for imposters? Yes, Superfarm Genesis will get you listed for imposters, just not the Jazz or the Falcon Pack NFTs. You want those original NFTs from the Superfarm Genesis, the original sale. Again, if there's any confusion about this, go into the Telegram group and we'll answer those questions. The mods there know all the details. And 3, will it be potential to rent NFTs on Superfarm Marketplace? It's definitely something we're excited about. It's definitely a part of the play to earn scholar situation. And there's also various ways to go about it. So the answer is long-term, yes. Short-term, that's not the first priority, right? Not first priority is getting rental in. But we do want to reiterate that, you know, the people who have been supporting the project up to this point, having those people and their dedication and support be rewarded is a high priority, right? It's a high priority for the project. But again, looking at what's happened with LooksRare and projects like that, we can talk about LooksRare for a second. LooksRare is the first NFT platform that has actually successfessly mounted the challenge to OpenSea. And we see here that they did this airdrop to OpenSea users, and they have, you know, a decentralized, essentially the fees go to the token holders. And we see that it went all the way up to a $7 billion fully diluted valuation. Oh, I don't have my chart up here. It went up to a $7 billion fully diluted, and now it's come down about 50%. And this is the first challenge, right? And this came out of nowhere. And so it's very bullish for decentralized marketplaces. And, you know, LooksRare is an awesome project, and it opens the door for a lot more vampire attacks. And that's all I'll say about that. And I'm really excited to see their success. So big shout out to LooksRare for sort of showing how it's done here. And, you know, all of the things that they did well are things that we're actively taking note of and excited to implement for the Superfarm marketplace. Regardless, yes, the answer is yes. The people who hold Superfarm Genesis, LEO trades, will be first in line for Imposters NFTs. All right, back onto the questions. Will holding a certain amount of super give you a chance to mint imposters? We do have a whitelist that is not purely going to be filled up with NFT holders. So there is going to be extra room, and we will prioritize super holders. That's a yes. Somebody said, bro, Avalanche is so based. Amen. What's AVAX doing today? What is AVAX doing today? Not much. Definitely nothing based today. Yeah, it's super painful seeing the come down from these bullish markets and just seeing how brutal the Fed has rugged the markets and of how impactful they are. This is a new thing for crypto. We have not seen such a dramatic change in mainstream stock markets that are leading crypto markets. So the hope is to see enough of this market decoupling and to be a part of the market that decouples instead of constantly tied to what the Fed says. My video got super blurry, huh? Let me try to get it back working. Does my video look blurry to you guys still? Let me know. It looks crisp in the editor. Let me know how the video quality is for you guys. Okay, crystal clear. Thank you guys. Thank you guys. Cool. So wanted to say again, 5,500 of you guys in the house. Huge shout out to you guys. If you like this video, please like the video. It really helps the YouTube algo. A lot of salty dislikers that aren't even watching the content. So it really helps me overcome that sentiment in the market. I appreciate it. And like I said, I'm not going anywhere. I've been here through the really rough times before. And during the good times, I try to talk about the rough times, though nobody wants to hear about it. And so, you know, if you guys are new, if this is your first crash, like I said, these are huge, important experiences for you to have. I got crushed the first crash of crypto that I experienced, completely crushed. I stuck around, ended up winning some, ended up getting crushed again, not as bad. When the cycle repeats, and every time the goal is to be crushed a little less bad, but to be there for the good times, right? Because there's always these next waves of crypto. This technology is eating the internet. There's no doubt about it. And yeah, so the goal is to survive. Surviving is thriving. Let me go ahead and hop into some comments here. What scent do you like to your diffuser to unplug? Any thoughts on clover? I like eucalyptus is my favorite scent. I don't have any thoughts on clover. Can you explain how to choose a project, what to see if it's legit? Yeah, so I'm going to be doing a lot more sort of intro to crypto toolkits. I'm actually coming out with a full beginners 101 course that I'm really, really excited about. I'm going to be putting a lot of production value into it. And that way, when people come to the channel, I can say, hey, before you actually watch any of this content, because I do cover advanced topics, I cover the stuff people are really interested in, right? Which is the high reward plays that also have high risk. The reality though, is that stuff is more advanced topics, right? You have to learn to walk, crawl and walk before you can run. And so giving people the crawl walk in a concise, 10, 15 part series that has super high production value, that allows for anyone to go from completely unknowing and non-knowing to super knowing. That is, to me, something that I want to have here on the channel, so that as we talk about more advanced stuff, I know that everybody knows the basics here. Because as the market gets really hot, it's not, not everybody in this live stream was watching my videos from last week or the week before, when I might have laid out more thoroughly, risk management strategies and stuff like that. So that's my goal for this year. And I will come with some videos on how to identify projects, do due diligence, and just essentially opening my brain as to how I evaluate the market. But I want to talk about something really clearly, which is, if you're using only me as a signal, then you're most likely going to get crushed, right? If you buy something and you don't know why you bought it or when you should sell it, potentially what a good profit-taking zone might be, then you're likely not going to keep those profits if you do get any. So understanding and laying out some of those core principles that'll help you navigate the market, that'll be what I talk about. Have you heard of CryptoRaiders on the Polygon network? Solid tokenomics, almost like a DeFi kingdom. I actually have heard of CryptoRaiders, so much so that my team actually put together, let me go ahead and show you. My team actually put together a little breakdown on CryptoRaiders. You can check it out. Shout out to Decentral Thought and Therabear. Go ahead and follow. These are two of my researchers. This is Dayton and this is Therabear. You can check them out on Twitter. Definitely go pump up their followers. Therabear is an absolute luminary of the NFT scene at only 672 followers. What the heck? And Dayton's actually crushing it. But these guys helped collab on doing a full breakdown on CryptoRaiders. Again, am I saying to go buy CryptoRaiders? No, I'm just saying, hey, look, here's something that is interesting in the market that's gaining excitement. And those are the things that I like to pay attention to, the things that are different than the trends. So if you guys like learning about frameworks for success, frameworks for analysis, which I think is like a fishing pole versus a fish, right? If I say, hey, here's a project I like, then you have one project. If I give a framework, then you could potentially identify many projects, dozens of projects, right? So it's really, really important that you have these frameworks. And if you guys enjoy that, please smash like. I really appreciate it if you like this content, that you like the content. Again, what did we see yesterday? Netflix completely capitulating on their stock price. And we got Netflix engineering tweeting, what are your thoughts on NFTs? I mean, come on. You have one of the biggest, most respected technology companies with thousands of employees across the globe. And what did they do when their stock price tanked? Immediately tweeted about NFTs. Immediately. You tell me what that means. Because I know what it looks like to me. It looks like NFTs are going to really take over the biggest tech companies in the world and their strategy. Very simple. So that's how I feel like the next era is going to go. The question is, where's the biggest, the highest beta, highest return plays, and most importantly, how do you risk manage? Cool. Let me get through some comments. What are my thoughts on Cardano NFTs? I don't have a huge thought on them yet, but I know that Cardano has definitely had a little bit of growth on the tech side. You saw cool monkeys following Creepz footsteps. I didn't, but I'll look at it. Again, when things like Creepz work, you can see a bunch of copycats. So there will be copycats. Thoughts on Apes R Us? Apes R Us is a project that was offered to the super farm community. I also advise the Apes R Us project. The artist Katoon is really, really sick. Let me actually bring up the site for you. And you guys can see it. Cool. Yeah, so it's got a little bit of like a Toys R Us theme, Apes R Us. And yeah, this artist, Katoon, is a Malaysian street artist that was actually published and auctioned at Sotheby's. Very, very well established, sort of popular artist, and did this a ton of, I mean, I think the art is really sick. Again, this is a PFP. Again, NFTs are risky, and I am an advisor of the project. So do your own research, but I think the art is really, really sick. I have an honorary of this as well. So Apes R Us, I love. Just like I like the Rave Pigs project. But again, do I know how they're going to perform in the market? I don't. And they don't have these gamification layers like Creepz. So they're more sort of like an NFT where if the community really vibes with it, they'll do really well. But if the community doesn't, they won't do well. So again, these will have like the market forces that profile pick projects will have. And I really, really like these artists, both Boys Noise and Apes R Us. So that's how I feel about them. But again, like I said, I am an advisor, and I want you guys to know that I'm biased. I like these projects, and I helped, guide them talking to the artists. So I am going to be biased here. So you guys got to make your own decisions here, but I do think that they are pretty cool. Will Imposters trailer be released in the next 2 weeks? I want to answer that, but I'm not going to. We're putting final touches on. I'm pushing hard for the next 2 weeks. We'll see. Amazing Elio. Much love for Berlin. Please let me know your thoughts about Doge Pound and D's Nuts NFTs. Yeah, I haven't checked in on Doge Pound in quite some time. Let me go ahead and check in on it. See what they're up to. Doge Pound, and they are. Let me add this in. 1.75. So at one point they were up at about 3. But the community is actually, like, the thing about the Doge Pound is like their community is real crazy. They really, really are big lovers of the project. So yeah, Doge Pound hasn't rebounded as well as some of the other projects. I think Doge Pound and SupDucks are probably in a similar position right now. Let me see what SupDucks is trading at. Oops. SupDucks 1 point. Yeah, so this is quite similar to SupDucks, where you had this, major blow off top here. They have similar charts. SupDucks actually picking up a little more right now than Doge Pound. But they're both kind of like that next tier down from Bored Ape Yacht Clubs and the Neo Tokyos and the CryptoPunks and the CyberKongs. You're seeing that these sort of next tier of projects that survived, right? The main thing is that they survived, because most of the NFT ecosystem, once the liquidity dries up and the community kind of loses interest, it's done. But things that come back after the lull that we had, so if you see a project survive the September blow off, go through these lows, and then start to come back with the volume and the excitement, that is very, very exciting, right? There was a sale 4 minutes ago, 17 minutes ago, 2 hours ago. People are still trading these ducks. And while there's trading, you can still get in and out. If there's no more trading, you can't get in and out, right? So liquidity and volume are huge, huge things here. So when you look at things like, especially like what we saw was like Doodles, which came in the bear market for NFTs. I don't know why I air quoted that. It was a bear market, but you see that they did incredibly well once the music started again. And here, I'll show you. So, this was their first day. They had a bunch of trading, and it was trading for, under 1 Ethereum, 0.9, 1 Ethereum. And then lately now the floor is like 0.9. It's absolutely insane. Some of these doodles going for massive, massive prices. So you want to look for projects that had strength during the off periods. You want to look for projects that had and this was what we talked about during the first NFT wave, is that we're trying to guess which projects survive. We're trying to guess which projects are strong enough to make it through those low volume times, because the projects that don't make it through the low volume times will have a very difficult time coming back when the next wave of excitement comes. And like I've told you guys before, you might not agree with it, but NFTs are a big, big deal. And this is not stopping anytime soon. It is not. That is my opinion. You guys are free to have your opinion. But that's my opinion. See a lot of people shouting out cool monkeys. I'm not going to do like live research here. Thoughts on Nifty League, Elio? Play to earn release today. Yeah, well, I actually talked about Nifty League the day it came out. I minted several Nifty Leagues, and I talked about it immediately when it came out. So that's exciting to hear that they're actually doing very well. I don't know why it's not verified here. That's very silly. And wow, that's great. They're up at 1 Ethereum. And so as you can see here, it went through a major sort of ebb and flow. And you can see that at first had a lot of excitement, then came up, then really died down. And we even had sales as low as 0.2. Floor came really low. And now, boom, we're up at 1.3 average price as of a couple days ago. Looks like it's one Ethereum average price today. So this is really amazing to see. I actually have a couple of, I think I have like 7 or something degens. But again, the reason why we like this was because of the gaming functionality. This is a gamified one. This has play to earn, and that's exciting stuff. So Nifty League degens is doing well. Again, as the market changes, we did say that we were expecting NFTs to come and grow once altcoins stop printing money. And that's exactly what's happening. So what do I think is going to happen with NFTs, and how am I going to play this, right? Well, usually what happens with NFTs is that there's a sort of early wave, and then there's a next wave. And so it feels like we're still in the midst of this early wave where only the real like hardcore NFT people know that there's an NFT bull run going on. And soon it's going to be a thing where all the people who are in mainstream crypto, once they've licked their wounds from the crash, will start jumping in. And we see something like a Zuki here. We see Crypto Bats by Ozzy Osbourne, major volume in these collections. And so I think it's really important to just keep your eyes on NFTs. Again, the reality is the highest risk is actually jumping into these trends when they're already super hot. So once everybody's trading NFTs again, and people have forgotten about the gaming run or the metaverse run, and they're just trading like the sort of bats and stuff like this, that's probably where it's going to start getting more risky, right? And so I did bring up NFTs towards the end of December, and throughout November, when I saw Mutant Ape Yacht Club come back up to 5 ETH, I was like, hey, pay attention to NFTs. Just, you don't have to spend money, but pay attention, right? And then once again, we're seeing now this wave come into effect. And it wouldn't surprise me to see there be a couple more sections of this wave. And especially if Orange Coin just gets continually battered, I wouldn't be surprised to see NFTs really take the center spotlight of crypto for a while. All right, let me jump back into, so I'm a Nifty League degen holder, is to answer your question. I haven't looked into their play to earn yet. Brutal pumps followed by brutal dumps. How to find the right projects is my dilemma. Elio, and how to get into one and when. So Zen Doge, this is a really good comment, but it's also something where in order for you to actually get good at this stuff, you need to be in this industry a lot, right? You need to know if you're going to be able to find something early and make that decision early, you usually need a little more experience, unless you're just being reckless, right? But the more you're in this industry, the more obsessed you are with crypto, the quicker you'll be able to identify something you like, size a position, and start entering, whether that's an NFT, a fungible token, a game. And again, looking at the airdrops that are happening for OpenSea users, looking at the airdrops that are happening for layer 2 users. This is going to be the year of the airdrop. So if you stay hungry and start using all these products, you'll probably end up with tons of airdrops. I know my LooksRare airdrop was like, it's just insane the amount of money I got for free. And if you see an airdrop for a project that seems like it's of substance, you might want to hold on to it for a bit because it might actually grow a lot and not immediately sell it. For people who held on to LooksRare, they ended up with huge gains if they held and staked, and I held and staked. So that's what I think is really important, is that you understand that like there's a ton of ways to, like, for example, Creepz, right? Creepz, you could have minted for a few $100 and now it's worth 6 ETH, right? A few $100 into almost 20 grand, right? Or I guess now it would be 15 grand. Regardless, absolutely insane, right? So you don't need to go overboard with risk. You do not need to overexpose yourself to these high potential return plays. And I think that's a big component that I see very, very commonly lacking in the audience, which is that you see something you think is going to go up, you put all your money into it. No, if the thing's going to go up 10, 20, 100x, you don't need to put all your money into it because that's a huge return, right? And that way you manage your risk and you can afford to have losers and winners. I do believe that there are winners throughout 2022. I will be doing the best I can to cover all those. And I hope you guys have enjoyed today's episode, really covering the ins and outs of the market, what's going on with the Fed. Feel free to rewind this. We're going to have some timestamps come up here in a second. And again, I thank everybody for, I see a big super chat. And I talk about Mega Weapon. Yeah, Mega Weapon just sponsored the Neo Tokyo tournament. Really cool project, and they have some gameplay footage. I'll do more research and coverage of things like Mega Weapon in the future. I see some shills. Somebody asking why I'm avoiding Richard Hart's ETH fork. I actually just don't know that much about it. I'm not avoiding it. I've very much so stopped saying anything negative about Hex or Hex related stuff because, they've done well. So good for them. Any thoughts on the Render token and UFO gaming? Two different things. It's a bit of a longer question. Render token and UFO are two very different projects. But like I said, I believe that there's the potential for metaverse and gaming coins to really have their own market structure throughout 2022. And I'm looking forward to that. Okay. I think I've gotten through all the super chats. Let me make sure. Cool. Any final words? Let me see. I'll answer a few more questions and then I'll go ahead and wrap up. D's Nuts activity is mooning. Yeah, they have a gameplay. Gameplay is very, very important. NFTs on Solana, my thoughts. Yeah, it's a good alternative ecosystem to, they have a lot of users, which is really important. People just shouting tickers. Again, stuff that was up, 100x over the last few months is probably going to be in for more short-term pain. But the goal is to see some decoupling. Citus, yes, I'm an investor. I'm excited about their game. I can't wait to see how their browser game works. Cypher gameplay vid released. Any thoughts? I haven't seen it, but what I have seen from Cypher looks awesome. Again, I'm an investor in Cypher and Citus. Want to be very clear. I do not hold Mega Weapon. Treasure Magic seems awesome. I wish I would have gotten into that ecosystem first, but I was late on it. Again, showing the sort of gamification GameFi layer. Really amazing. Asun, what are your thoughts about ASM Brains, a project? I don't know what that means. All right, y'all. It seems like we're going around in circles. Huge love to everybody. Thank you for joining. Again, like I said, these crashes suck. However, if you rewind to the crash of September 2020, I made so many buys during that rubble that ended up completely padding my portfolio for the 2021 run. If I look back at the crash of May, those buys I made in the gaming metaverse sector, in the NFT sector, I was buying Bored Apes for under 1 Ethereum, right? And that was just because I stayed hungry. So if you stay hungry, the opportunities are out there. Are they going to be exactly like the past? No, it's always changing slightly and evolving, and that's good. And I want to encourage you, just do not leave this space. Do not leave this space. Let's come together. Let's share knowledge and let's endure, because Orange Coin can only do so much damage if we continue to evolve as an industry. But it's required for us to put out projects, support projects that are actually going to onboard new users. And if we do that, I believe we will have a market that operates on its own merits, and we will eventually be closer to this incredible change that's happening to the entire online world, which is the advent of VR, metaverse, and gaming with cryptocurrency. I hope you all are having a great day. If you like this video, make sure that if you guys want to potentially win $1,000, go retweet my tweet, my top tweet here. I'm giving away $1,000, and make sure to comment brutal with ETH address. I'll show it one last time on the screen here. Make sure you go and retweet brutal with your ETH address. Make sure that you don't miss your chance. Hey, free money, right? As always, I hope you guys are having a wonderful day. My name's Elio Trades, and I'll see you very soon on the next episode.